You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted Best of Las Vegas. Give them a call, 702-727-9900.
Thank you for joining us here on News 25 and Ace Country Radio and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices on this Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Good evening. I'm Chris Palermo, and here is what's happening. 18-year-old Nevaeh Miller was back in Judge Michael Foley's courtroom today, where her scheduled preliminary hearing was waived.
18-year-old Nevaeh Miller appeared in front of Justice of Peace Michael Foley in court today for the extension of her preliminary hearing, which turned out to be a waiver of the preliminary hearing according to District Attorney Keith Brower, where she pled guilty to a charge of simple battery stemming from an original incident involving her grandmother.
As a condition of the plea or part of that negotiation today, she's pleading guilty in 25 CR 01485 to a misdemeanor battery for the battery against her grandmother. The adjudication in that case is stayed. However, we're asking that you impose a 180-day sentence suspended to start today. Judge, you are allowed to hear from the grandparents as speakers.
Miller had then been held in custody on a separate felony charge of attempted deterrence, which alleges that she interfered with or attempted to obstruct a legal process. Following today's developments, she was released on her own recognizance and is scheduled to return in district court on September 18th, 2025.
She'll bind over to district court on the charge. In district court, we anticipate that she'll enter a plea to one count of an attempt for the harbor and conceal the felony offender. The state, at that point in time for sentencing, both parties will recommend that she receive probation, that one of the conditions of probation that she receive is ongoing mental health counseling. She'll have all the other conditions of probation. If she successfully completes probation, she'll be allowed to withdraw that plea and receive a misdemeanor disorderly conduct with credit for time served.
During the hearing, Miller pled guilty to the battery charge involving a domestic incident with her grandmother. The court accepted the charge and sentenced her to 1 year of supervised probation with a 180-day suspended sentence, effective immediately. She was not remanded and was allowed to leave the courtroom under specific conditions. Although Miller has not entered a plea on the attempted deterrence charge, both the prosecution and defense indicated that a resolution is being negotiated. As part of that anticipated agreement, the Category D felony charge is expected to be reduced to a misdemeanor, and Miller will enter an Alford plea. An Alford plea allows a defendant to maintain innocence while acknowledging that the evidence presented by the prosecution could likely result in a conviction. If a plea deal proceeds as expected, Miller will face up to 3 years of supervised probation, a reduction of the attempted deterrence charge to a misdemeanor for good behavior, and no contact order with the Perry family. While out on her own recognizance, Miller must comply with court-imposed conditions including following all terms of her current probation, complying with any restrictions or future rulings set by the district court, avoiding and refraining from making contact with the Perry family. Miller is due back in district court on September 18th, 2025, where the court will determine whether to accept the proposed plea agreement and finalize sentencing for the attempted deterrence charge.
And more news now. Congressman Stephen Horsford is raising new concerns after finally gaining access to Core Civic, a private prison in Pahrump that houses ICE detainees. And News 25 has the details.
3 weeks after being denied entry, Congressman Stephen Horsford was granted access on Tuesday to Core Civic, a private prison in Pahrump, Nevada, that houses ICE detainees.
I work for the people of Nevada's 4th District, and many of my constituents call my office every single day because of immigration-related cases. And yes, some of them have family members who are detained at this facility.
You know that I have every right to do an inspection as the elected member.
As long as I did not have permission, right now
I was told by the warden behind a fence that my staff and I were a safety risk, and had local law enforcement called on me. Now, 3 weeks later, I finally toured the facility, and I'm left with even more questions that need to be answered.
According to Horsford, he was able to meet with 9 detainees who agreed to speak with him. He noted that the limited number left him questioning whether the remaining 60 detainees were intimidated or fearful of possible repercussions for speaking with a member of Congress.
Were the other 60 people intimidated or afraid of ramifications for speaking to a member of Congress? The people, the detainees that I spoke with, shared that there had been improvements in cleanliness and in meals in just the last week.
However, Horsford emphasizes that detainees continue to face significant challenges in accessing their attorneys.
They are having a really hard time accessing their attorneys. And there's not adequate attorneys, immigration attorneys, or resources. And so these are asylum seekers. Of the 9, 7 were asylum seekers. And so there's certain rights that they have, including the right to counsel.
Horsford urged his congressional colleagues to work toward bipartisan solutions in the future appropriations discussions to ensure accountability and full adherence to congressional oversight.
Specifically, I'm asking for an investigation into the Department of Homeland Security's non-compliance on this previous visit, and for the committee to consider appropriate corrective actions that include potentially conditioning future appropriations to ensure full adherence to congressional oversight. Congress controls the purse.
The Nevada Highway Patrol is asking for the public's help tonight. Troopers are seeking information in connection with the felony hit-and-run case.
Nevada Highway Patrol is asking assistance on a hit-and-run case that happened on August 7th at approximately 1 p.m. A male suspect was last seen leaving Dotties at the location of 4213 Boulder Highway, just south of Lamb Boulevard. This suspect got into a 2013 to 2019 light-colored Cadillac ATS sedan, and as he exited the private drive parallel to Mayorga Street onto northbound Boulder Highway, he struck and seriously injured a female rider that was on an electric scooter. This female was southbound on the east sidewalk prior to getting struck by this suspect driving the Cadillac. The driver of the Cadillac struck this person and then left the scene. This vehicle may have right front end damage. If anyone has information regarding this suspect or vehicle involved, are asked to contact the Nevada Highway Patrol at 702-668-4100. Or if the person calling wants to remain anonymous, they can call Nevada Crime Stoppers hotline at 702-385-5555. or 1-800-252-8477. Thank you for your assistance with this case.
Coming up, a story on a dramatic crash involving an ambulance in Summerlin. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. A dramatic crash involving an ambulance shut down a busy Summerlin roadway this morning, and Mikey Ruhan has the story.
Jason Ernest of Mount West Lawyers. Don't be bullied by insurance companies. Call me, 775-727-9500.
A violent collision at a busy Summerlin intersection sent an ambulance onto its side Wednesday morning. According to Nevada State Police, the crash happened just after 8:30 a.m. on westbound Charleston Boulevard over the 215 Beltway. Trooper Sean Hagstrom says an SUV struck the ambulance as it was heading to an emergency call. The rig had its lights activated and possibly its sirens at the time of impact. The ambulance was not transporting a patient, but an employee riding in the back was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The crash forced the closure of westbound Charleston over the 215 as first responders cleared the scene and began investigating the cause.
And Nevada Task Force 1 was honored at Tuesday's Clark County Commission meeting for their extraordinary work in Kerr County, Texas.
Last month, as you've seen, Nevada Task Force 1 was called upon to assist in Kerr County, Texas, following the devastating floods that occurred over the July 4th weekend. A team of 47 local responders who join us here, along with 4 canines, were deployed, along with thousands of tons of vehicles, equipment, and supplies. Their primary mission was to assist with search, recovery, and debris clearing operations along the Guadalupe River. After nearly 3 weeks deployed, the team returned to Nevada, and we are thrilled to get to celebrate and thank them for their tireless work over those 3 weeks in Texas. Will you join me in recognizing Nevada Task Force 1?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for the recognition. We just wanted to say it's our honor to serve the community here in Nevada and to represent our home agencies from all the different fire departments that we participate in, and also some of the civilian organizations that make up this team. And we're honored to go and be called upon to do this mission that we got to do in Texas and to try to bring some healing to the community there. It's a pleasure to work with these professionals from all the different organizations and the teams, and it's the people and the caring and the hard work that come together from this group that allow us to be successful. So just want to say thank you for your support, thank you for allowing us to go out to do the work that we believe so strongly in, and thank you for the recognition today.
I'd just like to say that these gentlemen up here right now went out and represented Clark County, represented the city of Las Vegas, city of North Las Vegas, city of Henderson, city of Boulder City, the test site, and the state of Nevada. When we left with a good impression on the people of Texas. It doesn't always happen when, sometimes when the federal government shows up, but they left with a pat on the back from the people that were there.
It's not nearly enough, but on behalf of this Board of County Commissioners, we thank you. We're so proud of each of you for serving our country in the way you have, and we get to proclaim today Nevada Task Force 1 Day in Clark County. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, in sports, the Las Vegas Aces are on an 8-game winning streak. How about that? Mikey has that and more coming up.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. The Las Vegas Aviators landed in Albuquerque Tuesday night and apparently left their bats on the plane. They fell to the Isotopes 9-3. Tough night, but good news, baseball is a forgiving sport. They get a rematch tonight at 5:35. Seattle Mariners outfielder Victor Robles has been suspended 10 games for his actions during a recent AAA game in Las Vegas. This is when he threw the bat. The suspension kicks in once he's back with the Mariners, so until then, he's just grounded in 2 cities. Aja Wilson continues to do Aja Wilson things, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocks. She basically played all 5 positions and may have even sold popcorn at halftime. The Las Vegas Aces edged out the Atlanta Dream 74-72, making it 8 straight wins. UNLV Rebels will face Idaho State on August 23, 2025 at Allegiant Stadium. The Indoor Football League has named Vegas Nighthawks receiver Quentin Randolph and running back Antonio Wimbush to the All-IFL First Team offense. Nighthawks are getting ready for their national championship this Saturday in Tucson. Summerlin South were in action today. Chris will have that score for you. They faced Metro Region champion Fairfield National from Connecticut in the 2025 Little League World Series. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
All right, thanks, Mikey. An update to Mikey's sports. Well, the Summerlin Little Leaguers, they lost today. They lost 1-0 to Connecticut. They are 3-1 overall in the Little League World Series. Coming up, more local stories. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. 2 years ago, a rare tropical storm tore through the desert Southwest, leaving behind flash floods. Tonight, we look back at Hurricane Hilary's powerful impact and the temporary wonder it left behind, Lake Manly.
2 years ago, the parched deserts of the Southwest were rocked by an unlikely force, Hurricane Hilary. The powerful tropical storm made rare landfall in Southern California before charging into Nevada, unleashing record-breaking rainfall and rewriting the map of Death Valley. Southern Nevada was drenched by unprecedented downpours. Flash floods swept across Las Vegas, and desert roads were turned into rivers. But perhaps the most astonishing aftermath came in California's Death Valley, one of the hottest and driest places on Earth, where a temporary lake, Lake Manly, was reborn. Formed in the aftermath of the deluge, Lake Manly stretched for miles across the valley floor, reflecting the surrounding mountains and drawing curious visitors from around the world. For months, the lake endured, a shimmering reminder of nature's extremes in a landscape known for more drought than deluge. Today, 2 years later, Lake Manly has mostly evaporated, but its impact remains. Scientists say the rare flooding event offered a once-in-a-lifetime chance to study the desert's response to rapid climate swings, while locals and tourists alike remember the surreal beauty left behind. From devastation to wonder, the storm that shook the Southwest gave rise to an unexpected oasis.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
That's a Lerner and Rowe weather cam looking out here in Pahrump. We have an extreme heat warning lasting until Saturday night. Something we don't see a lot of around here is humidity, and that's coming into the picture. So ladies, you're going to have the frizzies. Complete forecast is coming up in a bit.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Hi, my name is Jillian Bayer with KPVM Weather Studios. Let's take a look at today's weather. Fernley, we're at 94, Fallon 95, and Carson City 93. Tonopah 92, Goldfield 93, Beatty 102, and Amargosa at 107. Las Vegas 107, and Death Valley 118. Beautiful Pahrump today, we're at 103 with a high of 105, wind south-southwest 9 miles per hour, humidity 12%, and sunrise at 6:06 a.m. Tonight's sunset will be at 7:27 p.m., humidity 18%, and wind at east-southeast 6 miles per hour with a low of 77. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Thursday, we're at 107, Friday 106, Saturday 101, Sunday 102, cooling off a bit, Monday 97, Tuesday 92, and Wednesday 94. That is our weather forecast. Let's take it back to the desk.
All right, thank you very much, Jillian. I was talking about in the weather cam that, some of the ladies, they may have some of the frizzies with some of the humidity going up. And, well, some folks like me and maybe even Mikey, we don't have that much here to worry about. That'll just about do it for all of us here tonight at News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. Make it a great night.